Guys, Two Pines Mall Security called. They have Val Kilmer again.
Oh, God.
So we're gonna have to send Craig round to pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's not dressed as Santa Claus again, is he?
No, not this time.
Oh, God, it's not Spider-Man, is it?
I'm just glad he's wearing pants, okay?
Ah.
Now they're short and he's green.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah, he's wearing a pair of purple shorts that are torn and he's green and he appears to have gotten into another fight with a child.
Oh, Jesus.
We told him about this. It's not good for his image to get into physical and emotional altercations with children at Two Pines Mall.
Every fucking week. Like, he's got nothing better to do on the weekend but go hang around the mall and antagonize children. And I don't even see what his problem is. It seems to be just completely random. There's no two scenarios that are the same.
Perceived slights, as far as I can tell. I know last week he got into a punch-up with someone's mother because he was screaming at the mother to control the child because he was claiming the child was checking him out.
Like, how old was this child?
I have no idea, but I mean, we're talking, child. Like, it had a transformer in its hand, which he claimed was his at one point. I don't know what the guy's deal is. This isn't the first time he's accused children of staring at, what did he describe them as, his lady lumps. I have no idea how to rein him in. He goes to the mall specifically wearing low-cut tops with the express intent of calling minors out for, what he says, staring at him like he was a piece of meat when he's so much more than that. He used to be the Batman for God's sake, end quote.
Yeah, he's not asking parents to take pictures of him with their children again, is he? For money? I know he was at one point kind of soliciting that service with the Santa Claus outfit.
Oh, God, that racket. I don't think he did that this time, but that was a problem. I'm worried of him bringing that back up.
Well, it was only a problem because it was June. I mean, there is an appropriate time and place for that sort of thing.
Yeah, but we have Dean Cain hooked up with those gigs and Christmas. He can't...
Dean was pissed.
Yeah, he can't be taking those wages away. He just set up his little camp on the other side of the mall, except he put up, cardboard reindeer, and he hired people to look like elves and just...
Well, I mean, at least he
was just soliciting children to walk up to him.
At least he hired people this year. Last June, he, spray painted a cat green and then, shaved the word elf into its back, in its fur. And, I mean, long story short, the paint clogged up the cat's fur and it died. Didn't stop him bringing it in every day, but that's another problem. But you're right, the middle of June... And the worst part about it is he sweats in that costume, and it's a thick sweat. I always thought sweat was universal across the board with people, but it's thick and viscous and kind of creamy.
It's like gravy almost.
Almost! But this kind of milky, off-white, like dumpling gravy. Oh, it just sort of pours off, and he gets his business cards out, which exists solely for the purpose of, just scraping across his forehead and then just flicking it off.
The worst is when he takes the jacket off at the end of the night. I mean, and it's like cheese, like hot pizza cheese stretching off of the edges of the jacket. It's just absolutely disgusting. Like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, where the stretching soles. Oh, God.
I swear I did once see a face in it.
So, anyway, it seems it's the same old story that we get every time this last few months. The child had something in its hand that Val determined was his, and he just aggressively charged up, got directly into his face. I mean, effectively spitting on the kid as he's yelling about how, "You took that, it's mine, give it back, it's mine, how dare you, it's mine. I was the bat, how dare you, it's mine." And the mother, of course, this is apparently not her first time at the rodeo. She's seen Val before. I don't even know why she keeps going back to the mall.
That's not Mrs. Parkhurst, is it?
It is Mrs.
Okay,
Parkhurst.
she's lovely, but I mean, I don't want to blame...
You don't want a victim blame.
Yeah, the victim in this, the family. But she realises that Val Kilmer's at that mall pretty religiously every Saturday morning, afternoon and evening. I've advised maybe make it a Friday You know, she works irregular hours. She can work around this. I realised then that he would just inflict himself on other children, as he does, but he's got to stop this. When I had to pick him up once, he had some kid with a cookie, and he was just screaming, "That's Val's cookie, that's Val's cookie, when does Val get his share? Give me my piece of the cheese." And just grabbed the kid's wrist and was trying to just shake it out. And I'm like, you can't put your hands on a child, Val. Like, that is actually assault, what you just did. And he said, well, I didn't want to grab the cookie because that kid would just grab the other end and it would ruin the integrity of the cookie. And I'm like, the structural integrity of the cookie, Val, is not your concern. You grabbed a child and you violently flung its arm around while screaming, "I was the bat," right? You having been any sort of bat-related character, of course I ignored his protests at my use of the word character, does not justify theft. And of course he thought I was just talking about the child and was like, oh, I totally agree. He just doesn't get it.
No, he doesn't. And I've had a conversation with him about the security guards. You know, they come in every Saturday and they try to pull him out. And he keeps telling me that he's effectively pulled rank as Batman. Like, he comes in with his, like, frickin' Batarang prop, and he throws it around the room, and it just kind of, like, because, you know, it's plastic, it just kind of, like, sits there. And maybe it hits somebody's arm, and he runs out, like, screaming wildly. Like, I won, I'm the Bat, I won. And they just left him alone. He's so crazy. Like, he doesn't understand that they don't forcibly remove him anymore because they can't deal with him.
Well, you got the people, sort of the guys that have like the stalls and everything, sort of in between stores. You know, they all saw what happened when he threw that batarang at one of the vape places. Liquid and glass everywhere. No one wants to be that guy again. So they all just keep their heads down and keep quiet. No one calls him out. It's up to us to always pick up the bloody mess.
All right, guys, so we have a new client this week, Whole Foods.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I know. Great food, great prices. Now, they've come to us specifically because they have started to introduce a new meat to their meat department, rabbit. And they're having a little bit of trouble selling the rabbits. Specifically, we have some humane rabbit societies who are concerned about the selling of rabbits and the treatment of them before they are sold. So Whole Foods has come to us to solicit our services for some ideas for how they can increase the rabbits' lives before they are slaughtered. Currently, they are held in pens socially. Every rabbit needs a friend before they're killed. But they want some more ideas in how they can please the Humane Society. So,
well, I'm confused as to why there's a backlash. You're saying people are sympathising with the rabbits. I've never heard a good thing about a rabbit. I mean, they call them the vermin of the skies. I was born and raised in London originally. They're all over London, just like bunches of them, little purple and green and blue fucking things, going hoo hoo all the time, incessantly, eating crisps out of my hand.
Those are
they're flying rats, as far as I'm concerned.
Those are pigeons, Jim.
Huh?
Those are pigeons. The rabbits are the furry, long-eared, eat carrots, annoy hunters.
I'm looking up on Google image search. I've never seen one of those before.
So they are statistically like the third cutest animal on the planet from our polling, and some people are upset that we are eating them because they are cute.
They are cute. Like, I'm looking at them now. They are cute. I thought they were made up. But no, okay, I can see why people might have a problem with that. Whole Foods so far have been telling people that they're giving these guys friends and everything.
Yeah, so they've already done the pre-work on this, and they've set up socializing pens for the rabbits. They're administering medicine to the rabbits when the rabbits are sick and caring for the mother rabbits. So they've got a good little daycare going on here for the rabbits already. But it's not enough, so I'd like us to brainstorm some ideas for how, we can make this even more humane for people to eat. So they feel good eating the rabbit. The rabbits lived a very good life.
Okay. Have we considered the idea that people might have an increased problem with the idea of giving these rabbits a lot of hope, a lot of thoughts for the future, a family and friends, before being singled out for slaughter one by one.
Yeah, that seems really inhumane from my perspective. You would want to, at least I would want, if I were a rabbit, I'd want them to be honest with me. I'd want them to be straight and say, hey, listen, you're being bred for slaughter. We're going to kill you and eat you, and it's never going to get any better than this.
Yeah, I mean, they say they're giving these rabbits friends, but what happens when, its little Mopsy's turn for the chopping block, and Floppy Ears is left without his little sniffly chum there? This feels problematic to me. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a way we can spin this, but it's just about finding the angle.
Yeah, we don't want an Animal Farm type situation here. We don't want Mopsy seeing, Flopsy being turned into glue in front of their eyes.
Or do we?
Well,
here's the thing. I heard many years ago that KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, still not on our books, unfortunately, but I would love to get them as a client one day, routinely kill their chickens in a big room where there's like hundreds of them. Most of them know each other, as well as a chicken could know another chicken. They go in with an axe or gloves and break the necks of these chickens or cut their heads off. I don't know exactly how they do it. But anyway, they go around this room killing all the chickens, and the story I heard that was most affecting was that by the end of it, the few chickens left remaining are just in the corner of the room, having given up all hope. Just absolutely shattered. Individuals just waiting for their turn to have their necks snapped and their life cruelly snatched away. The problem is, KFC's delicious. More delicious than any other chicken I know. They don't tell us what those herbs and spices are, but I'm guessing one of them is despair, if that's the way they kill the chickens, and the chickens taste that good. Perhaps, and I'm just spitballing here, marketing desolation and the complete lack of hope is one way to actually sell food as tasting better. Using the KFC example, Whole Foods, we give these rabbits hope and then cruelly snatch it away, leading to a richer dish, to a more succulent meat.
You may be onto something here. I think they would be willing to run some test groups for us. So maybe we could have one camp, we can call it the optimism camp. We continue to have them socialize and be cared for in advance, if they're sick and, they're in their field playing around. And then we have the desolation camp, the pessimistic side where they're the chicken situation. We can kind of
essentially a concentration camp for rabbits.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wire fences as tall as 3 rabbits with barbed wire at the top, little tiny searchlights. It would be adorable. We could have like little voles or little meerkats at the top of the search towers, and we can give them little guns and little helmets, and these lights constantly going around on these sort of muddy brown rain-slicked trenches with a siren that goes constantly.
We may have an opportunity for a sideline business here at the same time, too, because if we're going to be having all of these rabbits sort of collected in one place, maybe we can get them into some manufacture. Maybe we can get them to make purses out of the, remains of the other rabbits. I mean, you want to talk about something that's going to instill some dread and horror into a creature. That's going to tenderize them right the hell up.
Oh, God, it'll keep them in line as well. I mean, the last thing I want is a rabbit rebellion, but if we constantly hammer on these little long-eared fuckers, if you uprise, you could be the next wallet or the next foot on a keychain. So straighten up and fly right. I really like the idea of this, and conversely on the other side, we've got these rabbits that are having, like, every day's a birthday party. They get premium, they get Whole Foods carrots, obviously, that pays for itself. So they get top quality, they're not having to eat the eyeballs and eyelids and toenails of the other rabbits, unlike over at the other place.
I have the key. Two-way glass between the two. So the desperate, miserable rabbits can actually see the happy ones living a carefree life, and the carefree ones have no idea that the others are there.
Well, the ignorance is bliss, and these would be the most blissfully ignorant rabbits we ever hope to sell. I can see all sorts of things here. I mean, I'm just blissful ignorance flavour rabbit pie is a seller for me, and just witnessed his brothers and sisters get shot. Creme sauce. Wonderful. You put the two together, so you get that sort of crunchy, crisp taste of joy with this sort of drizzle glaze of just having given the fuck up.
I also feel like even if this is, for some reason, and I don't anticipate this, a huge failure, if we film, the two-way glass, if we film the birthday party and the campsite, maybe we can turn this into a movie opportunity. I hear cute animals are big. We have Charlotte's Web. We have that, whatever that other talking pig movie is. And then we have Chicken Little. I mean, why can't we have the same with rabbits?
Or if it comes right down to it, we could always just sell the footage to PETA.
Yeah.
On the topic of new clients, by the way, we have picked up a relatively new store. Actually, again, we've been talking about Two Pines Mall earlier today. They've set up shop there. It's a new place called the Shoe Despot. This is a new themed shoe store that's there to just enhance the shoe buying experience. Effectively, you walk into this store, there are structures, they resemble, instead of shelves, they have these sort of large, tall structures that look a lot like sugarcane, sort of across the breadth of the store, with shoes on the top of each one. Whatever shoe you want. If you want to try a shoe, you have to get one of the employees. They're very easy to spot. Most of them are sweating profusely and have sackcloth pants on. And either way, they're the ones with the machetes, because they're the ones that will cut down the shoe cane for you, so you can try your shoes on. I think it's a very exciting venue. Some people are worried it's controversial as an idea, especially because in order to buy the shoes, you have to get approval from the store manager, who's referred to as El Jefe, who is at the back of the store on a throne made of shoes. It's kind of like the Iron Throne from Game of Thrones, but with a lot more shoes. And he's there in a military uniform with medals of indeterminate origin, and aviator glasses and a hat. And he will scream at you and berate you while you're buying the shoes. And if you can withstand the punishment, and if you don't run away when the gun comes out, then you leave with a really nice, good quality pair of shoes.
Now, I actually think that's a really brilliant approach. You have this sort of intriguing, adventurous theme. It feels a little rustic. It feels like anything could happen. There's an element of danger, which is thrilling. But at the same time, under the surface level, you're getting fashion consultancy free of charge. You have the Shoe Despot there to direct and guide you towards the optimal shoe purchase for you.
And you trust him because he is impeccably dressed.
And he has a gun.
Several, actually. Most Shoe Despot managers are required to have at least 3 guns. They don't have to bring them all in on the same day, but it's like, we're all about style at the Shoe Despot, so just make sure you vary it up. No one wants to go in and see the same old El Jefe. The military uniform, however, is a regimented thing. Keep that on at all times. Keep your medals polished. Smoking a cigar is fine if you're El Jefe. If you've not earned that right, keep it out. This is a smoke-free zone. I really like it, and obviously, I mean, hell, even the employees look good. I mean, that's a good look for August. This sheen of sweat. Most of the time, you'll see an employee sort of, again, in his sackcloth pants and sandals, machete in one hand, the other arm raised as he's just sort of wiping his brow with his forearm. Big water jug. They'll look at you. They've been trained to say things like, I think the harvest will be good this year.
So do they, climate control the store to then resemble a sugarcane field environment in the middle of summer? Or is that...
And how? They routinely keep the air conditioning... They keep things at what I would call a toasty 94 degrees on a good day. So much so, in fact, that there are sprinkler systems and hoses that, again, just like you're in a real field with the crops being tended, they actually have to spray with hoses and sprinklers the shoes to stop them from melting in there. So you feel like you're watching crops being watered. It's an incredible immersive atmosphere, punctuated with the occasional sounds of gunshots as upper management blast their AKs in the air. They've actually had the ceiling paneling removed so nothing gets damaged. It's actually open air at the back of the store. Not so much that the earthy... again, you use that word rustic. I like that word rustic. The earthy rustic atmosphere of the Shoe Despot is not sort of blown out of that space. But they kind of need it because when everyone starts firing their guns in the air, which happens, I want to say on the hour, every hour, sometimes they miss a few when they're disciplining the lower employees. But it transforms shoe buying from, well, just shoe buying into an experience, which is important. And I want to stress this. Important and not racist.
No, and I think this has actually been done before in the mall. There was a certain store, can't recall the name, but they import a limited resource product, basically handmade woven goods from Central American children, making them by hand. I think, what is it? Banana Republic. That's what it's called. It's been done before. They're very successful.
Oh, they're not gonna have to worry about any legal action from this then. You
God
don't
no!
think?
I mean, they've already paved the way for this.
Well then, that's convenient. So let's talk the shoes then.
Mm-hmm.
Are these major line shoes? Are they like major designers, name brands? Are they producing their own line of shoes? Where's the resource coming from?
Oh, we use the finest goat leather, pressed in, I'd say the name of the country that they come from, but I can't pronounce it, and I don't want to sound culturally ignorant by attempting it, so I won't. We don't have brand names per se. We do use names like Nike, like Adidas, but we are technically not supposed to. I think that was how it was explained to me. But again, in the same explanation, I was told El Jefe don't care about that shit. So get your ass out of here.
Well, if their legal department has it under control, then I'm not going to worry about it.
Fully under wraps. Every time I, in fact, say the word legal, there's someone there with a big knife, brandishing it menacingly, which I take as a sign as they're aware of any loopholes, any pitfalls they might have, and have already countered them.
So we have a little update on how things are going with Craig's recovery program. We, as you recall, sent him off for drug treatment about 5 days ago. Mm-hmm. Reports have been coming back from the doctors that he seems to be doing well. He's responding to the treatment pretty effectively. A lot of the early stages with the shaking and the vomiting seem to have subsided, so that's great.
Thank God.
Yeah, he's really starting to kind of level out. I feel horrible that it had to come to this point, but I don't think there was really anything else we could have done.
No, not at all. I mean, the thing is, Craig's drug problem has been worrying me for a while now. I was very concerned when I first became aware that he may have had issues with drugs, and I'm just glad that we've got him on the road to recovery, because lying about the amount of drugs he took to try and impress us and fit in just wasn't on.
No, it's not right for us. It's not fair to himself. We need to sort of maintain honesty in the workplace if we're going to continue to function as the FistShark family.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's rule of marketing 101. If something isn't true, that's fine, but if it's caught as not being true, you have to make it true. And I told Craig this when I interviewed him day one on the job, and he suggested he had an interest in maybe moving beyond internship and joining us on the executive team. I'm like,
yeah, as if that's ever going to happen.
Well, at the time, I was okay. At the time, I was open to the idea. I didn't know him. I didn't know he was a dick. I explained to him, I said, look, we're in marketing. Sometimes the facts get fudged. Sometimes things aren't quite true. But don't you lie to me, boy. He was showing off about how many drugs he took, how much cocaine he ate, how many weeds he smoked. I follow him on Facebook, actually. And the amount of times he woke up and said, "Waken and bacon." And I'm like, that man has potential. That boy could go somewhere if he's that committed to, one of the most important parts of high-level executive salesmanship. And then, just in further conversations, it became quite apparent he didn't know what he was talking about. He's talking about, like, I mixed up some ecstasy in my frozen yogurt this morning, and look at me, I can't stop the shakes. It just something didn't add up, and his anecdotes just reeked of bullshit.
Yeah, I started to get really suspicious when I had asked him to start taking Quaaludes along with the rest of us. And he said, "Caitlin, Quaaludes haven't been in production since the 80s. And I'm like, Craig, are you stupid? Obviously, from the documentary The Wolf of Wall Street, we all know that this is a common practice in higher level executives, and he refused it. He said this doesn't exist anymore, and I couldn't believe him.
We base all of our decision making, more or less, and lifestyle choices on the Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, I was gonna bring this up next week, but his whole inability to use prostitutes correctly really upsets me. All of us, I think, are very well versed in the use of prostitutes. We're efficient, we're quick, we're clean. He cries a lot, especially when he sees the ones that I like to see, and I don't think that's on. I mean, take a punch, Craig. Take a fucking punch. If you want to be an executive, you let her hit you. Now, do it. And I hold him down, obviously, and he's like, "Oh, stop it, I don't even know why you're here, why have you got to see me have sex with a prostitute?" And I'm like, "You've got to show me it, to show me." And he's like, "Oh, no, stop it, I feel wrong, I have a girlfriend. I'm like, the only girlfriend you have is the job, Craig. None of us have girlfriends but the job, Craig. Let her kick you in the balls. If he was as high as I was at the time, he'd have enjoyed it, but he wasn't, he was pretending. And that's why we had the intervention, and it's why I'm really glad to hear that the intervention is working."
Yeah, I think the intervention was really effective. And I have to say, Caton, I was so moved when you talked about how his lack of drug use was affecting your relationship with him, because I know that you don't like him, and who can blame you? Nobody likes Craig. And I think that you're right. Had he been on a nearly crippling quantity of heroin, he would have just been more pleasant to deal with in general.
Look, you all know I've been trying hard for a really long time to be the bigger woman here and step up to the plate and reach out and help him with his lack of addiction, but I think it's a lost cause. The boy can't be reached.
Now, this program that we put him in, it's absolutely going to work. I am completely confident. What they've done is they've taken him to that warehouse that we rent for special occasions, on the outskirts of the industrial district. And they're just pumping him full of every drug that you can abuse. Just one after another. They're starting out with, they started out with some pretty heavy shit. A little bit of PCP, a little bit of cocaine, just to really get him cranked up and energized. And then they're going to sort of level him out with some Quaaludes, which, I don't know what he's talking about. They haven't been manufactured since the 80s. What a load of horse shit. Some ecstasy, and then eventually they're going to ramp him back up with some methamphetamine. And that cycle's just going to continue, I think, for another 4 or 5 days. And by the time they have him out, I don't think his body will be capable of even continuing to function without a steady supply of drugs.
Well, that's good, because, I mean, if he was unconscious through drug use a lot more often, he'd be a lot more fun to be around. People wouldn't mind working with him if he was just passed out on his desk, not making any noises. I really like this idea, and I think it sends a very strong message. You know, if you lie to us about the amount of drugs you take, we will make you take two of every drug. You will become a veritable Noah's Ark of barbiturates and heroin and hallucinogens. And I'm excited. I know he was snivelling when we dragged him in. And I did actually see him, let's say about 2 days ago, when he was sort of really on some of the nastier stuff, some of the untested stuff. I mean, he talks about drugs that haven't been manufactured, but, some of the stuff from our bunker would put a Batman villain to shame. And he was having a full-on conversation with Pol Pot at the time, except that Pol Pot was now some sort of eldritch abomination that was crawling up the walls. I think it was made out of Pol Pot's head on a spider made of intestines. He said something to that effect. I was pleased with the results. I think this is going to change him. I think this is going to warp him for the better. People say the word warped like it's a bad thing, but when you're already like Craig, I don't think any amount of damage you could do is really for the worse.
It's like we said when the men showed up to put the bag over his head and drag him out of the intervention. You know, this is going to be difficult. It's going to be painful. It's going to, have a very serious effect on Craig's life. But I think when all is said and done, he's going to come back here and he's going to thank us.
Plus, if you go over to the gurney where he is right now in that underground shelter, if you poke him with a sharp stick, the noises he makes are incredible.